BB851, turn right, heading 180. 14 Papa, turn right 245, report localizer established 27.
With the first quarter of 2020 having come to a close, aircraft manufacturers are indeed releasing their delivery results across their commercial and also defence operations and sectors, with the numbers being rather startling across the board when comparing to previous years. Boeing has indeed said this is its biggest drop-off in monthly/quarterly cancellations and in general deliveries in decades. It comes following the outbreak of COVID-19 and the number of airlines having to restructure their operations, which in turn means their future aircraft orders are also adjusted, impacting the specific aircraft manufacturer. Boeing reported 5 deliveries for the 737 series during the first quarter, none for the 747 series, 10 for the 767 series, 6 for the 777 series, and finally 29 for the 787 series, bringing the total to a modest 50. For some comparison, typically aircraft manufacturers would actually be achieving 50 or so deliveries a month in an ideal world. For reference though, this is down from 149 for the first quarter of 2019, roughly therefore being at 50 per month like I just mentioned. While it's safe to assume the majority would be taken up by the single-aisle family of aircraft, like in Boeing's case the 737, that's been severely reduced, with the 787 series really taking over in that regard, with, as mentioned before, the 29 deliveries for the first quarter of 2020. However, given it being a bigger aircraft, the output rate isn't quite the same as your typical 737, which, as we know, Boeing pumps out at an astonishing rate, providing there are no problems with the series, like we've seen for the past year and a bit. Boeing, in addition, reported 150 737 MAX cancellations during March. However, 75 of those were indeed covered in an earlier video. Those 75 cancellations came from Aviation, an Irish leasing company that had no set destination become apparent prior to their eventual cancellations. However, Brazil's GOL, or GOL, is one of the customers that has now cancelled 34 orders for the 737 MAX. A lot of these decisions come following the record drop-off in demand for air travel, and airlines adjusting their future operations as discussed earlier. It doesn't necessarily come from, say, directly an airline's faith in a specific product, like the 737 MAX. At the moment, airlines need to adjust their expectations and understand going forward after the COVID-19 pandemic what will be a suitable fleet and operations. However, they haven't had essentially long to plan this type of thing. Due to this, the cancellations come as the pair reached an agreement for cash compensation and changes to future orders. While the Brazilian carrier has indeed cancelled these 34 737 MAXs, it does still have 95 remaining jets on order. These specific orders, though, I should mention, are indeed firm. Boeing halted production on their 737 MAX series back in January of this year, and as we know, have seen the type grounded since March of 2019, obviously impacting progress on orders and in addition deliveries to customers. However, it's not been all doom and gloom, as Boeing did indeed welcome in 31 new orders during the month of March, one being from FedEx for a freighter, 12 were 787s for ANA, and the remaining 18 were for a military aircraft, the P-8. Despite these numbers, Boeing has stated that it continues to work directly with its customers as the industry goes through an unprecedented difficult period. All these type of cancellations are not good or not really welcome for anyone. It shouldn't come entirely as a surprise given the current state of the industry, and I would encourage you to expect more coming from both Airbus and Boeing, who have already reduced production for their aircraft, with Boeing, as we know, stopping production completely for their 787 series. A popular option for long-haul operations with airlines around the world, which, as we know, currently when it comes to long-haul operations are essentially non-existent and useless, unless they are indeed operating rescue flights of some sort. Thank you very much for the continued support. I do really appreciate it, and I do very much look forward to you all joining me in the next video.